Is it going? Alright guys, we're going to get started that way, because if we start on time, we get out on time. Alright, so today what we're going to do, I'm going to go over penalty enforcement. We do have some videos of penalties that we will watch and break down. And then we are going to go down to the fields and go over mechanics, signals, throwing penalty flags, and then the two positions, ref and back judge. There won't be any breaks today. Your break will be walking down to the fields, and we'll do that at about 8 o'clock. So go ahead and get comfy. Alright, so like I said, we're going to start with penalty enforcement. So for those of you guys who did 7-on-7, it is a little bit different. In 7-on-7, we did have 5 and 10-yard penalties, but in 4v4, the 10-yard penalties are now 5. The 5-yard penalties are now 3. The reason we do that is because the field is much smaller. We don't want to have a pass interference call and then march the team halfway down the field, because that's just too much of an advantage. So we have shrunk the penalty enforcements down. The 10-yard penalties are all your contact and conduct and participation penalties. So that's if there's a holding penalty, if somebody has an unsportsmanlike conduct, if they're illegally participating. Those are all your 5-yard penalties. Your 3-yard penalties are all the small stuff, so like false starts, an illegal snap, more procedural stuff, illegal formation, stuff like that. We'll go into more specifics of each penalty after we get through the basics. Alright, so we have 2 types of penalties. So any penalty you ever have are going to fall under these 2 categories. We've got live ball penalties and dead ball penalties. And we went over live ball and dead ball yesterday. So our live ball penalties are anything between the snap and the end of the play. It is also everything that happens simultaneous with the snap. And I'll go into those in more detail later. And then our dead ball fouls are anything in between when the play ends and when the next ball is snapped. Most of your dead ball penalties are going to be like false starts, illegal snaps. I mean, I guess illegal snaps simultaneous, but and then your unsportsmanlike as well. If you see right there, most of the time they are going to be dead ball penalties. A team can choose to accept or decline the penalties. They can also accept the penalty but decline the yardage. So if they want to accept the penalty because it's a replay of the down, but they don't want the yardage, they can make that decision for any foul. Alright, so these are our dead ball penalties. These are our 3 yards. Like I said, we've got false start, illegal snap, encroachment, which you shouldn't have in 4v4. I just left it in there because it is a penalty you could see. Leaving the field on the wrong side, and delay of game. So false start, someone raise your hand, tell me what you think false start means. Someone who hasn't reffed before. Yeah.
They go before the whistle.
No, so they go before the snap. Because the false start is literally simulating the start of the play without it actually starting. So I can blow my ready for play whistle, and they've got 25 seconds until they have to snap the ball. If they jump offsides before that ball is snapped, that's a false start. So, but the exact definition is simulating a start without the play actually starting. An illegal snap, we went over that yesterday. Anyone want to give a definition for that? Not one fluid motion, exactly. Encroachment, anyone?
The defense crosses the line of scrimmage.
Right? So when the defense hops offsides. We also call when the offense lines up in the neutral zone encroachment as well, because technically we don't have offsides in flag football. So that is both of those. Leaving the field on the wrong side actually is a penalty. This is more when we have 5 people on the field and that 5th person realizes, crap, I'm not supposed to be here, and just runs off the side of the field that's not their own. That is a penalty, because that could be, they could, pick a fight with the other team, and there's no way for us to officiate that as well as what's on the field. And they also can't run out the back side of the end zone. So if you ever see that, that is a penalty. It's a 3-yard penalty. All you're going to do is throw your flag and move on. And then delay of game is an obvious one. If they take more than 25 seconds and they're just taking forever, you're going to throw your flag, delay of game. Alright, so all those we went over are what we like to call our blow and throw penalties, because you are going to blow your whistle and throw your flag as high as you can. You're not going to let that play happen. The reason we blow our whistle and throw it after is because like it says, we want to prevent the ball from becoming live. You want to throw your flag high in the air. You're not going to throw it out in the field. I'll show you guys that a little bit later when we're out on the fields. And then you're just going to report the penalty to your referee. Most of these penalties will be the ref's call. Because like I said yesterday, that ref's lined up on the line. More times than not, your back judge isn't going to be calling false starts. It's going to be you. Alright. And these penalties will be enforced from the seceding spot. The seceding spot basically means where you started the last play. So when you throw a false start penalty, you're going to mark it off from where that ball is. That makes sense? Alright, here's a dead ball penalty. You guys are going to have to tell me which one it is. Do you believe him? Let's say it one more time. You guys see that guy at the far side jump early? Yep, that's an excellent example of a false start. Wrong way.
Just because the team's yelling it doesn't mean they're wrong. They are sometimes, but in that case they are not.
That one is very, very subtle. But can anyone tell me what penalty that one is?
Before a snap it.
So what do you think that would be? Illegal snap.
Illegal snap.
Yeah. So if we'll watch it one more time. It is kind of hard to see because we do have a player blocking our view. If I can get this mouse to work. But if you watch the guy right there, he jerks the football a little bit. You could call that as a false start technically as well because he's simulating a start, but the correct call for that one is a illegal snap. Alright, so these are all of our 3-yard live ball penalties. So these are during the game, while the ball is live. So we have illegal motion, and that is when we have one person moving towards the line when the ball is snapped. Remember I said yesterday, you can run parallel with the line, but as soon as you're running towards the line when the ball is snapped, that is an illegal motion. An illegal shift is when there are two people moving behind the line. You can only have one person moving. Is it at the snap when you throw that penalty?
Yes.
Yes.
One of the when we say simultaneous with the snap, it means they have every minute or every second up until when they snap it to fix the problem. And for an illegal shift, they just have to be not moving for 1 second.
Right.
Okay?
So
They have to hold still for at least a little bit.
You guys got that? So they're running around, and then they hop right here, ball snap. There's not a second in between the two. So they need to be set for at least a second before the ball can be snapped. And that's when you want to encourage your quarterback. Wait till your players are set. Wait till your players are set, like we said. So just preventative officiating. The illegal substitute, if somebody runs on to the field after the ball is snapped. I don't think there's any other situations, unless, Brian, you have some more?
On the field, it's mostly off of the field. That's the problem. Off the field before the ball snaps. So we have 5. We're supposed to have 4, naturally. The last person doesn't get off in time. That's illegal substitution.
There you go.
We also have a dead ball version of that. Is if we notice they have 5, we just won't let the play happen. No one's trying to get off the field when we say they have 5. We blow the tape, play dead, and that's an illegal substitution as well.
Right. And then we have the snapper on the line of scrimmage. So if your snapper is not on the line of scrimmage when they snap the ball, that is a live ball penalty. That is also one of those that can be prevented, absolutely. Just remind your centers to scoot up and snap from the cone. Most of them will do it anyway, just because that is the line of scrimmage. But if they're not, encourage them to move up to the cone This one's a little bit lenient. If they're within a foot, we're not going to try to penalize them if they're trying to play the game right. But if they're like a yard and a half off, that's when you want to throw the penalty. Remember yesterday we said we have to have all our receivers start, they have to be more than 5 or more yards from the sideline. We got a legal forward pass. That's either if we have more than one forward pass in the play, or if the quarterback goes goes in the neutral zone or past the neutral zone when they throw the ball. Failure to wear required equipment. This is if you have a player run onto the field and they're participating but they never put flags on. I guess we could throw this as well for pockets technically, but we more than likely will throw an unsportsmanlike conduct for that one, just because we do remind the captains in the meetings.
And they are slightly different. Failure to wear required is not wearing your flags at all when you should. Wearing pockets is illegal equipment. It's a subtle difference, but that's the important part. That's why definitions were so important. That's why we covered them yesterday.
And this one is for 7-on-7. We don't punt in 4v4. All right, so all of those penalties, so all of the 3-yard penalties that are live ball, we call those throw and go, because you are quite literally going to throw and just move on. So what you're going to do, you're going to see either legal motion or something, you're just going to throw your flag high in the air, and you're just going to let the play happen. You're going to move upfield, keep officiating, because those are not play killers. And you guys need to make sure you remember that, because if you kill the play for an illegal motion and that team goes and scores, you just took away a play from them. So make sure you guys get down the differences between the throw and go and the blow and throw penalties. We do have an acronym later that we'll go over that will help you remember. Did anyone catch that penalty? Let's watch it one more time. Again, this is subtle. I want you to watch these people right in here. Do they ever get set? No, they never get set. So that is an illegal shift penalty. Same thing. That guy in the middle, he never got set, right? You guys saw that? Okay. Alright, so we're going to go over our live ball penalties now in more detail. So like I said, we went over yesterday illegal forward pass. It's throwing beyond the line of scrimmage. Illegal male advancement. This is very important. This is if you have a closed play and they throw it to a male. Or if a male runs to the line of scrimmage, but that's not going to really happen in 4v4. But if you have a male-to-male completion on a closed play, this is what you will throw. Failure to wear proper equipment. Another one that we did not talk about is not tucking your shirt in all the way around. That's very important in flag football, because if your shirt's untucked, what's it covering? The flag and the belt. So you want to be able to see both the belt and the flags, because they are both eligible to be pulled. So you need to make sure at all times you're requesting the teams to tuck in their shirts. If they don't listen, that's when you start throwing those unsportsmanlike penalties and the failure to wear proper equipment penalties, because they are gaining an advantage by having their shirts untucked. And you'll see it a lot when people get their flags pulled. Sometimes the players get a little shirt, they get a little shorts when they grab the flag, so they're going to pull both. They're not getting an advantage, but it's just going to happen when you're pulling flags. And so people's shirts will become untucked a lot during the game. So you're going to be constantly reminding them to tuck in their shirts. Alright, so we're going over our live ball penalties now. These are penalties that happen during the play. Did anyone see what that penalty was? No, so the play was open. This is a live ball penalty that is a 5-yard penalty. So I want you guys to look for contact. Oh, let me go backwards. One of you guys come work this video over here. So that one's a kind of a marginal call, but what the ref called is he called pass interference on this player right here. So this is an example of a live ball 5-yard penalty. It's going to be a contact penalty. That is another example of a 5-yard penalty. Does anyone know why that would be a penalty?
Because the cornerback has to look at the ball at least one time when the wide receiver's trying to catch.
Correct. It's called face guarding. They have gotten rid of that in the higher level football, but we still have it in flag football. So if you have a player who's defending a wide receiver and is just running like this, and they're not looking at the ball, that is an illegal advantage, and we do throw a penalty on that.
The important part there is look where his hands are. He's trying to put his hands in the player's face. And space guarding, which is pass interference.
All right, so here are all the list of our, there's actually 5-yard penalties, but our 5-yard live ball penalties, we got our illegal contact, and that's just when someone makes contact, whether they're just, you're setting a screen, which is illegal in flag football, they just bump the defender. Any type of contact that's not offensive pass interference will be called illegal contact. We've got flag guarding, which will be called a lot, and that's any time someone tries to gain an advantage by blocking their flag. And it can look like they're just running normally and their hand happens to be in the way when the defender goes for the flag. It can look like a swipe. It can look like just a spin and dropping their elbows. There are all kinds of ways for flag guarding that people get really creative. We've got holding. It's an obvious one. We try not to call holding if it's they're going for the flag and they happen to grab some shorts and they get the flag simultaneously. It's if they hold the player, gain an advantage by holding them, and pull the flags. Do you guys see that difference? So if they accidentally grab some shorts, unless it's like malicious and they're ripping the people's clothes, which does happen. But if they are not getting advantage by grabbing the clothes, it just happens to happen when they're grabbing the flag, we're not going to throw a penalty on that one. But if they gain an advantage, that's when you'll throw it. Offensive and defensive pass interference. Illegally removing a flag belt. So that is that one I talked about yesterday, when they know that that person's going to get the ball, so before the ball gets there, they rip the flags off because they want them to be down as soon as they catch it. That's illegal. An illegally secured flag belt, we will have some players who tie their flags. I do believe it is unsportsmanlike. It's an ejection, says Mr. Stelzer over there. So if you have a player who ties their flags, they are not participating legally and they are ejected automatically. And that can go from anywhere to someone literally tying a knot to some girls will take the excess of the belt and just wrap it around like 100 times and the belt won't come off. Most of the times you will not catch this unless it's a scoring play, because after each scoring play we will check the flag belts to make sure that they are legally secured. And then our other ones are unsportsmanlike conduct, roughing the passer, which you should not have. You should probably have another penalty with that if you have a roughing the passer call, because remember the defense is not allowed to run through the line. And then illegal participation. Illegal participation can be anywhere from so they're playing with 5 players in co-rec if you have the wrong ratio out there. So if you have 3 males, 1 female, or 3 females and a male, if you don't have the correct ratio out there, that is also illegal participation. All right, so illegal contact, just going into a little more detail. You can be this can be called on a player without the ball as well as a player with the ball. We also call it if anyone tries to strip the ball, because we consider the ball part of the player. So if anyone tries to swat the ball in someone's hands, tries to go for the strip fumble, anything like that, we also call that illegal contact. This is a illegal contact penalty. Just watch. You'll see it, hopefully. You guys see that? So instead of just pulling the flags, you watch right here again, the guy actually just tackles him. So he gained an illegal advantage by tackling the guy, because instead of just pulling the flags, which is actually harder in some cases than tackling him, he just went ahead, wrapped him up, and then the guy was down. Flag football is different than other football because it is technically a non-contact sport. So anytime there's excessive contact, you need to be calling an illegal contact penalty. Then we have our holding. I already went over that a little bit. Failure to wear proper equipment, not wearing a flag belt, not tucking your shirt in. Did you guys see that? What penalty was that? Say a little bit louder.
Not wearing the right equipment.
Right. So see this guy? He played the whole play without flag belt. So he was not wearing proper equipment. Alright, flag guarding. So like I said, this is going to be your most consistent call throughout all the games you do. That's knocking your opponent's hand away from the flag belt, putting the ball over the flag belt, lowering your elbow to prevent the flags being pulled, and even the natural running motion. Some people run with their hands all the way down here. If they are preventing the defense from pulling the flag, I don't care how natural it is, they are gaining an illegal advantage and it is a penalty. We encourage all of our participants to run with the football out here. It looks really weird, but you'll never flag guard, plus you get that extra yard. So we tell them to either hold it up here, hold it up high, run with the ball like this. It's all very awkward, but they'll never flag guard. So this flag guard is a subtle flag guard, but this is what you guys got to watch for. See, his hand dropped, and he got that extra 2 steps because his hand dropped. You guys watch it again. Right then, do you see he pushed the player away a little bit? That's a very subtle flag guard. Most of the flag guards you'll see will be a little more obvious than that, but that is a perfect example of one of the smaller ones you will see. So illegal advancement. If a player runs through the line of scrimmage with the ball, that is illegal advancement, because in 4v4 you can't run, right? And in order to pass the ball through the line of scrimmage, in order to run through the line of scrimmage, you must pass the ball first. You can pitch it back and then run through the line. I think when I took this training, however many years ago it was, they explained it to me like the ball is the only thing that can break that pane of glass. As soon as that ball breaks the pane of glass, then a player with the ball can run through it. Look at where the quarterback's foot is when he throws it. It's hard to tell from our angle, but it looks like he is over the line. That is why, as ref, it is important for you to stay close to the line of scrimmage, because that is going to be your call. You need to make sure that you are watching where that quarterback's foot is. Even if it's just a few inches over, he is gaining an illegal advantage. Alright, so we got our OPIs and DPIs. So, offensive pass interference starts when the ball is snapped. So there can be offensive pass interference as soon as the wide receiver starts running, when the ball is in the air, when he's about to catch the ball. Any of those times when the ball is snapped and when he catches the ball, there can be offensive pass interference. The defensive pass interference doesn't start until the ball is in the air. Guys, get that difference? And then, like we said earlier, offensive pass interference can also happen with face guarding. If there is illegal contact by the defense before the ball is thrown, it's just an illegal contact. Alright, so once you've thrown a flag, now you have to know where you're going to be enforcing the penalty from. So this is where the terms like seceding spot come in. We have all of these terms. So we got our field penalties. And our field penalties stand for, I think I have it up here, maybe not. We'll go over that in our flag throwing one, but I think it's false start, illegal snap, encroachment, leaving the field on the wrong side, and delay of game. So those are all our dead ball blow and throw penalties. They're field penalties. And those will go from the seceding spot. You'll be enforcing from the seceding spot, which is where you were going to start the last play. Okay? Fouls after the play is over, so this is our dead ball penalty. Once the play is over, a player commits a penalty, it is enforced from the seceding spot where the ball will be snapped from next.
An example of that after the play is over is generally there's a little bit more pushing and shoving after the play is over, so you call a personal foul. Yeah, just add it on to the end of it. And just think about that. So play's done, they have a little extracurricular activities, yeah, you tack it on to whatever the end of the play was.
So your unsportsmanlike penalties most of the time will not affect what happened in the last play. It will just affect the yardage where the next play will start. Alright, we got our loose ball plays. Like we said yesterday, that is anytime the ball is in the air, whether it's a pitch, a throw, the time between when the ball is being dropped and it hits the ground, anytime it is loose. If the ball is considered loose, we have to think mishap penalties. And mishap penalties we will go over in a second, but those are our illegal motions, illegal shifts. Help me out, Brian.
Motion, shift, illegal substitution that's for leaving the field, where you have too many people not having a snapper on the line of scrimmage, not having enough participation if you have they have too many people to play participate in the play. The key thing on this particular slide is live ball. So we talked about the penalties fall into two categories: live ball and dead ball. That's one of the ways we know where to go. Well, if it's a live ball, there's still more that we need to know. Loose ball play, which we defined yesterday, and running play have two different spots of enforcement.
Right.
So that's why these definitions are important.
Alright, so your loose ball plays will go from the previous spot. Obviously, that means where you previously snapped the ball. So for our offensive pass interference, it's not like the NFL where we're just going to give them the ball where they would have caught it. It's going to be enforced from the previous spot. So it'll be 5 yards from where they last snapped the ball. For our running play, it will be the end of the run. We say for things like flag guarding, we'll go over this a couple slides, but when it's a penalty on the offense, say they flag guard and they keep running, we're going to say where their legal run ended. So they legally got to where they flag guarded. All of that yardage before that is legal, so that's where the end of run is going to be. Okay? So this is just a time continuum that we talked about earlier. So we have our snap, and probably between the snap and when the ball is caught there is a running play. And then probably right here the ball is thrown, that's a loose ball play. Ball is caught, after that that is a running play. And then after the flags are pulled, out of bounds, touchdown, whatever, that is a dead ball. There you go. Alright, so this is an example of a loose ball play. Snap. He's going to scramble around, throw the ball. That is considered all loose ball play. Whoop. Can you press play for me?
Balls away!
So because the quarterback threw it, that is considered a loose ball play. Running play is any action in which the ball is not loose, obviously. We went over this yesterday. Anything behind the line that involves running. the quarterback is scrambling and then he throws it, that is going to be considered part of the loose ball play. So if he scrambles and then throw it, that whole play is going to be considered a loose ball. Alright, so we shouldn't have this. So he scrambled and then he runs out of bounds. We shouldn't have this in 4v4, but if there is a play like that where he runs through the line and goes out of bounds, that is considered a running play. But will we enforce it from the previous spot if it's illegal advancement?
No, we'll do it from the spot of the foul, which happens to also be a previous spot.
Okay, there you go.
We're going to talk more about it later. We call it the all but one. There's a one exception. So what we're looking at here, running play and loose ball play, again, is where are we going to enforce the penalty? The basic spot is what we call it. On a basic spot of the running play, it's the end of the run. The basic spot of a loose ball play is the previous spot. So all things being equal, if they have a pass, and it's during the pass or the run preceding said pass, we'll do it from where they snap it. If it's during a run, wherever they ended, when the flags got pulled, they ran out of bounds, their knee hit the ground, that's the end of the run.
So this is 7-on-7. It looks a little bit different, but that would be considered a running play. If there is a penalty throw in that play, it would just go on the end of the run. We went over this yesterday, multiple plays and a down. So it is going to be a loose ball play if we throw it, but as soon as they catch it and start running, it is a running play. Great. All right, we got it. All right, so again, snap, throw, that's going to be a loose ball play. And then he runs in the end zone, running play. Throws the ball, and then he runs. So as soon as he caught it, everything before that was loose ball. Let's watch it again. So even this quarterback scramble, as soon as he throws it, catches it, that was loose ball, now it's running.
Yeah, that's why we showed you the time continuum.
Same idea. All right. Why don't you guys go ahead and take a 3-minute break, go get some water. All right, so this is a chart that our lovely professional staff have put together for us. This is basically the thought process we want you to go through when you're enforcing a penalty. So the first question you're going to ask is, what kind of play was it? Was it a running play? Was it a loose ball play? So if it's a running play, you're going to then be enforcing it from the end of the run. If it's a loose ball play, you're going to go previous spot. And then, was a foul by Team A or the offense? And was it behind the basic spot of enforcement? Yes or no? If it was behind the basic spot of enforcement for a running play, yes, you're going to penalize it from the spot of the foul. That's that all but one principle Brian was talking about. So if the offense fouls behind the line of scrimmage, we are going to penalize them from that spot. Because we like to say you're going to put the screws to the offense. If they get penalized behind the line of scrimmage, we're not going to give them the luxury of being enforced from the end of the run or the previous spot. We're going to enforce it from the spot of the foul. Same thing on the other side. If it's behind the basic spot of enforcement, we're going to penalize them from the spot of foul. If not, we'll do from the previous spot. For running play, if it's not from, if they do not foul behind the basic spot of enforcement, then we will penalize them from the end of the run. It's really complicated. I highly suggest that if you guys are confused, A, you ask questions in the next couple days, and B, you guys go back and look at this PowerPoint. It is online before you guys come out for your first shift. Alright, the all but one principle. So, if I'm Team A, offense, I go out and like I said, I flag guard, I have offensive pass interference, whatever it is, and then I continue to gain yards, that they're continuing to gain yards illegally, right? So we're not going to give them those extra yardage. We're going to enforce the penalty from where the foul happened, and that's on the offense. The defense is a little bit different. You got to remember, so the basic spot, which is typically where we'll say if it was from the line of scrimmage. Another one would be if, like Brian said, they run through the line of scrimmage. We're going to put the screws to the offense, the all but one principle. We're going to penalize them from the line of scrimmage because technically, until they ran through the line, they're illegal. But as soon as they ran through the line, it was all illegal. So you're going to penalize them from that spot. We have any questions about the all but one principle? Again, this is only on the offense or the people who are in possession of the football. So as soon as the defense intercepts the ball, they flag guard and they keep running, we're going to enforce the flag guarding from that spot. So whoever is in possession of the football is going to be considered Team A, offense, new offense, anything like that. Questions? Concerns?
This is why we talked about definitions of loose ball, running play, is so we could find that basic spot that we're talking about now. So the but one is the offense. Everything else is a basic spot. Okay.
Sorry, thank you. So this ref threw an illegal contact penalty behind the line of scrimmage. Again, this is 7-on-7. Looks a little bit different, but same principle. He threw an illegal contact on the offense behind the line of scrimmage, so he is going to go back to where the flag is and then march off the yardage for the penalty. Thank you, Ryan. I think this is the same play. All right, so we got our 4 W's. We got what was the foul, so let's say it was illegal contact. Who was the fouler on, the offense or the defense? When did it occur? So this is where, was it a dead ball or a live ball penalty? Was it a running play, a loose ball play? And then where is the spot of enforcement? Okay, so you guys need to make sure you're going through that thought process. You need to make sure you know all 4 of the answers to all 4 of these questions before you A, announce the penalty, and B, tell the ref what you have. So as soon as you throw a penalty flag, think about it for a second, and then either go announce the penalty to the teams or go explain it to your other ref on the field. That way we can get the correct enforcement. Any questions on that? Okay, make sure you guys remember this because it's very important. All right, this is Mr. Reese Walton in the back. He is going through reporting a penalty for us. So he's already asked the players if they're going to accept. So he threw the penalty flag. He went through the 4 W's. He's asked the team if they want to accept or not. Now what he's going to do, he is going to announce the penalty, and then he was going to march off the yardage. Sounds like they declined the penalty. And then he'll march off the yardage. Okay? We'll go over it a little bit later, but for the reporting a penalty, we do go through SAGA. So you're going to start with your preliminary signal. You're going to just do pass interference on the offense. You're not going to say it. You're going to do a silent signal. Then you're going to ask the team if they want the offended team if they want to accept the penalty or not. Then you're going to give the yardage. So you're going to walk it off. And then you're going to announce all of it. So you're going to tell them what happened, how many yardage the penalty is, and then the result of the play, whether it's a repeat of the down, loss of yardage, and then you're going to move on with your ready to play whistle. All right, so clean hands principles comes in when we have a change of possession in the play. So let's say Team A, there's an interception to Team B, but before TB intercepted it, they had defensive pass interference. So when they caught the ball, they did not have clean hands. So when we enforce that penalty, we are not going to let the defense keep the ball because they did not have clean hands when they got possession. Same thing, if we throw the ball, defense catches it, but before they catch it, offense has offensive pass interference. We're going to let the defense keep that ball because they had clean hands. Do we have any questions about the clean hand principle? So what if I throw an interception, defense catches it, starts running, and they flag guard? Are they going to be able to keep that ball?
Yes.
Yes, because they had clean hands when they caught the ball. We'll still enforce the penalty from the spot of the foul, but they had clean hands when they caught the ball, so we will let them keep the ball. You have anything to add on that, Brian? I think I covered it. Alright, automatic first down penalties. So these are our only two. Again, roughing the passer should not happen in 4v4. We just throw it in there because it is good for you guys to know that. And also, a legally secured flag belt is also an automatic first down. Okay? Loss of down penalties. So, we have our illegal forward pass. That is a loss of down penalty. And for these loss of down penalties, if it is third down, again, remember, we don't have 4, we have 3. If it's third down, offensive throws illegal forward pass, what happens? It's third down, they lost the down. Turnover. They don't have any more downs to give, so now it is automatically the other team's ball. Another one is an illegal backwards pass. Oops, excuse me. Illegal backwards pass, and then illegally secured flag belt on the offense. So this one, is illegally secured flag belt on the defense. This is if we have illegally secured flag belt on the offense. Yeah. Just think about with that one, whichever team gained an advantage, the offense is going to be penalized if they have the legally secured flag belt. So penalizing them would be losing a down. The opposite for defense. Alright, I've enforced the penalty, now we need to talk about the down and distance. Alright, so this is where we go over our zone line to gain. That's what the ZLTG stands for. For our live ball fouls, we're going to mark off the yardage and then establish our zone line to gain. So, we're going to have a offensive pass interference. We're going to march off that 5 yards. If our 5 yards takes us over that 20-yard line, or defensive pass interference, if it takes us over the 20-yard line, and that means that that offense gets a first down because you're passing that 20-yard line, you set the pucks until you blow that you're ready to play. As soon as you set them down, that's when you set the zone line to gain. Okay? For dead ball penalties, you're going to mark off the yardage, and again, then set the zone line to gain. So if I have a false start, or no, not false start, let's think of a penalty. If there's an encroachment, for some reason, defense decides to jump over the line for some reason. If they jump over the line, or there's a delay of game on the defense for any reason, and that 3 yards takes me over the 20-yard line to gain, then that is going to be a first down.
Another dead ball that can happen before they're ready. That's your unsportsmanlike. If someone curses at you and another opponent, that's a more likely dead ball prior to ready to play.
Right. And let's say there's a false start, and I'm on the other team's 19, and the 3 yards takes me behind the 20-yard line. That doesn't mean that my new zone line to gain is the 20-yard line, because I've already gained that 20-yard line. It's not, because that would be an advantage for me to false start. So my zone line to gain would still be the goal line, but I would have 2 zone lines to gain in front of me. That's going to be an exception for us. So our dead ball fouls after the ready for play, we're going to establish the zone line to gain and then mark off our penalties. Okay? Live ball penalties followed by 1 or more dead ball penalty. you're going to march off the live ball penalties first, then the dead ball penalties. Okay, so if we have a defensive pass interference, plays dead, and then we have a defensive unsportsmanlike conduct, you're going to enforce that live ball penalty first, set the zone line to gain, and then force the dead ball penalty. So it's always going to be live ball, then dead ball. Did you guys know if we have an offensive live ball and a defensive live ball penalty, what happens? They cancel each other out. We're going to offset, replay that down. If we have an offensive live ball and a defensive dead ball, what are we going to do? We're going to enforce both because they're not the same kind of penalty. If we have 2 dead ball penalties, that's an exception. If you have multiple unsportsmanlikes, I guess if you were to have a false start and then an unsportsmanlike, your dead ball penalties stack on top of each other. So if you have a false start and then an unsportsmanlike penalty, that's going to be 8 yards on that one team. They just stack on top of each other. Special enforcement, half the distance to the goal. This is if you're within 5 to 10 yards from the goal. Say it's 7 yards to the goal. It's a 5-yard penalty. We're not going to take 5 yards and then put them at the 2. We're going to do half the distance. If it's a 3-yard penalty and we're outside the 6, inside the 6, so we're on the 4-yard penalty, we're going to do half the distance. The way you mark off half the distance, you're going to count how many steps it takes you to get to the goal line, turn around, cut it in half, walk the half back, put the cones down. Okay? And this applies as well. Does this apply with if you're going back towards the other end zone as well? What'd you say? Always.
Going toward the goal line, it applies. You can never get more than halfway to it.
No, I'm saying if it's an offensive penalty and it's backing me up.
Yeah. You can never get any closer than halfway to either goal.
Okay. Okay. A disqualified player has to be removed if is in flag football. Do we have the same rules as basketball? If they go under the minimum, as long as they have a chance to win. Yeah. Okay. So we have a disqualified player, and they must be removed from the game. If for some reason, because of injuries, because of disqualifications, unless it puts them over the maximum of unsportsmanlikes, if the team goes down under the 3, which is our minimum to play, so they have 2 players, they are still able to play if they have a chance to win. So if it's like 25 to 19, I go down to 2 players, I'm only down by like 5, we're going to continue to let them to play. What'd you say?
6. You said 25 to 19.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I missed one. Yeah. If the offense commits a foul in the end zone, in their end zone, so the one that's behind them, that is a safety. You shouldn't have this in 4v4, but if you do, for any reason, it is a safety. If there's a defensive foul in the end zone, so let's see.
So this is when, so remember, most penalties, so on the offense, in our all but one, where do we usually enforce that penalty from? What did we say it was? Fouls by the offense behind the basic spot. Where do we enforce it? So wherever the basic spot is, where do we usually enforce it if the offense is if it's behind that? Spot of the foul. Spot of the foul. There you go. Flag guarding is the easiest one. If flag guarding happened 10 yards back, that's where we're going to get it. Right? So if the offense commits a foul, it's behind the basic spot, so the foul's in the end zone. They're already as far backwards as they can go. What's the only alternative to moving backwards? Safety. Okay? Same too, defense does it. but I have the offense. Where do we usually enforce a penalty? So it's not all but one. It's not a foul penalty. Where do we usually enforce the end of I almost gave it away. A running play. So you tackle me in my own end zone. We don't allow tackling, right? That's considered a run then. Where do we enforce a penalty on a running play? Say louder.
The end of the run.
The end of the run. So where do you tackle me, despite the fact of being illegal, right? So if I'm standing in my end zone, you keep me there by tackling me, cheating. Basic spot is the end of the run, but that's in the middle of the end zone. I might not even get all the way out of it. Where would be the most sense?
Or like right outside the end zone.
Yeah, right at the goal line. That's what that part is. But the goal line shall be used for measurement. So wherever it takes to finally be in the field of play as opposed to the end zone, well, that's where we'll start, and then we'll march it out. Neither of those two will happen terribly often in 4-on-4 unless we have a change of possession. Change of possession is when it can happen. You have the interceptions where I tackle you in the end zone or something like that. It's pretty rare.
Another one of our specialty enforcements. If you think a game is getting out of hand, and you've used all of your game management tools in your toolbox, that is public warning, captain's meeting, unsportsmanlike conduct, you think the game is still getting out of hand, you have the right to end the game. If you feel like the game is getting to that point, you need to get a supervisor. Because A, they're going to have to fill out paperwork, and 2, they have experience with these type of situations, and it's always good to get a second opinion before you end a game, because if you end the game and it didn't merit ending a game, we're going to have to go back and replay that. So make sure that you do get a supervisor if that happens. Alright, if there is a foul during a touchdown, so the defense, like he says, if he tackles you in the end zone, but you caught the ball and you scored for a touchdown, we're not going to take away that touchdown because they got it legally. So then the offense has two choices. They can choose to have the penalty enforced on the try or the next possession. So they can either say, okay, I'm going to go for a 2, which is on the 10-yard line. It was a defensive pass interference or illegal contact call. We're going to move them 5 yards closer, so they're going to go for the 2 at the 5-yard instead of the 10-yard. Or what we can do is when Team B, the people who the foul is on, when they get the ball after they go for the try, we can back them up 5 yards. So they have those two options if there is a penalty during a scoring play.
You got ahead of yourself. In this instance, so the foul by the scoring team on this slot.
So
go ahead.
If the offense flag guards or offensive pass interference to catch the touchdown no longer happens. If you see that, acceptance of the penalty nullifies the score. And so most of the times we're going to do the all but one principle. They flag guard it to get in the end zone. We are going to go from the spot of the foul. If it happens in the end zone and it's a loose ball, so it's offensive pass interference, loose ball penalty, where do we go from there? Previous spot, right? Because it's a loose ball penalty. So that's when you want to go through those. And this is what I talked about earlier for the defense. The offense has two options. If there is a change of possession and the foul occurs before the change, this is that clean hands principle. The scoring team must decline the penalty in order to keep the possession. So, I throw an interception, but the defense, not only, they have defensive pass interference, catch the ball, run for the touchdown. If I accept that penalty as the offense, not only do I keep the ball, the defense does not get that, or the defense that scored doesn't get that touchdown. So it says prior to B3's interception, they return it for a touchdown. A4 commits offensive pass interference on the A30. B, they must decline the offensive pass interference in order to score. So if the offense doesn't have clean hands and the defense intercepts it, they run for a touchdown, they can't have a touchdown and the penalty. Because they're basically saying that they want to accept the penalty that happened before they gained possession of the ball. So they must decline that penalty in order to keep the touchdown. If either team commits an unsportsmanlike or a non-player foul during the down in which the touchdown is scored, the opponent may accept the result of the play and then choose to have the foul enforced on the try. Okay? So the example is, during her touchdown run, A2 starts high-stepping at B's 10-yard line and is flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct because it's taunting. So we're going to rule it's a touchdown, and B may elect to have the penalty enforced on the try prior to B's series, so they can choose to back up the offense on their try. Or they can choose to have the penalty enforced on their next possession, so they can move themselves up. Alright, that's a lot of words, man. If after a touchdown and the prior to the initial ready for play for the try, either team commits any foul in which the basic spot of penalty enforcement is a succeeding spot. Oop. This is what we talked about earlier. Did you say something? Oh. The offended team may have the penalty enforced at the succeeding spot of the try or after the try. So that's the same thing. They can choose to have it enforced on the try or the next possession. There's a foul by the offensive team during the try. The acceptance of the penalty nullifies the try. So this is the same concept as a touchdown. If the offense has a penalty on them during a scoring play, whether it's a touchdown or a try, then it nullifies that try. You're going to enforce the penalty, and they'll get to retry that try, because most of our live ball penalties are replay of the down. So if the defense chooses to accept the penalty, we're going to back up the offense, and they have a retry on the end zone. So a lot of times the defense, they'll choose to decline this penalty if the person there's an offensive pass interference, they bobble the ball, they don't score in the try. They're going to decline that penalty because they don't want to have a retry, because the penalty doesn't mean anything. They got what they wanted, they didn't score. If during the try it's a loss of down penalty, so if it is an illegal forward pass or the offense has illegally secured flag belt, they will not get the score, they will not get the replay. There's a foul by the defense during the try. The penalty will be enforced, and they'll get a retry. If there's a double penalty, the down shall be replayed. So if it's offsetting penalties, then we'll just replay the try. So we have an offense and a defensive penalty that are offsetting. We're just going to replay from that spot that we had before, the previous spot. So we had someone completely truck the girl right there. We had a foul on the try. What are the options that the offense has? Anybody?
Decline it and take the touchdown.
It's a try.
Oh, so that's a good. So that's the option that most of your players are going to ask, are going to think they have to do. Almost all of them will turn after they score and go, "Well, we want to decline it. We want to decline it. We want to decline it," because on Saturdays and Sundays the rules are different, right? For us, we're not giving out free shots. You're not going to be able to just punch me and then get away with it just because I scored. We'll tack it on to whatever happened. So like in this play, you trucked me, we still scored, I don't have to decline that. I can enforce that wherever I need to. If this was just a touchdown, you can have it on a try, or if this is the try, like Laura was saying, I get my 1 point. Now, wherever you start, you get closer to the end zone, maybe you'll drop it and you'll have a seat.
But say that girl dropped the ball, you can also choose to accept it for the try and have a replay of the try. Alright, double fouls. This is the offsetting penalties that we were talking about earlier. If both teams commit live ball fouls and there's no change of possession, so we don't have to worry about the clean hands principle, there is a change in possession and the team with the final possession fouls prior to the change of possession, or there's a change of possession and the team last in possession accepts their opponent's foul. So this is when flag football gets complicated. Alright, so if we have 2 live ball penalties and there's no change of possession and they're opposing fouls, we're going to just they're offsetting, we're going to replay. If there is a change in possession and the team in final possession fouls after they've caught the ball, do they get to keep it? So they've caught the ball and then they foul. Yeah, okay. If there is a change of possession and the last team in possession accepts the opponent's foul, so if the defense catches it, but before the penalty happened, the offense had a foul on them, they have to decline it, right, to be able to keep the ball. So if the offense, there's illegal contact on the offense, there's an illegal shift which we let go on because that is a throw and go penalty. If there's anything like that on the offense, in order for the defense who now they have possession of the ball because they intercepted it, they have to decline the offensive foul that happened before the interception in order to keep the ball. Got it? Okay.
As clear as mud.
Yeah. You just have to go through the process. You have to think about what fouls happen first. Were they live ball or dead ball penalties? Do they happen before or after the possession? If you have a lot of penalties, if you have double penalties in your game and it has a change of possession, you need to make sure you guys come together as a crew and you talk through the whole thing. You are allowed to take an official's time out to talk out this stuff. We're not saying talk about it for 5-10 minutes. We're saying come together, have a 30 to a minute and a half conversation about what to do, and just get it right. We will push back the games a little bit if it means you guys get all of your penalty enforcements right. Alright, so if we have 2 or more live ball penalties on the same team, we can only accept one of those live ball penalties. So more often than not, the defense will just choose the penalty that hurts the offense the most. So if the offense has an illegal shift and then they have an illegal contact down the field, more times than not the defense will choose to take the illegal contact because that is 5 yards instead of the illegal shift that's 3. If we have more than one dead ball, like I said before, our dead ball penalties will stack on top of each other. We'll just add them on. And if we have a live ball and a dead ball, those are going to stack as well because there are 2 different kinds. And, oops, it just says, just what I got. Sorry, it's a lot of words on the screen. So this is what I've been telling you guys ever since day one. If a player has 2 unsportsmanlike, it's an automatic ejection, even if it's something like high stepping into the end zone and the next time they score they spike the ball. Both aren't really egregious offenses, but they do have 2 unsportsmanlike penalties on them. It's an automatic ejection. What do you do if you eject somebody? Grab a supervisor because they have to fill out paperwork. If you have 3 unsportsmanlikes on the team, and I really hope this doesn't happen in 4v4, but it may. If you have 3 unsportsmanlikes in a game on the same team, you need to forfeit that game. Hopefully you guys did a whole lot before you guys got to that point, whether it's a public warning, captain's meeting, multiple unsportsmanlikes. But then you need to forfeit, get the supervisor, make sure you give a very detailed description of what happened, because like I said, we will be meeting with both the captains and the ejecting players. Okay? These are some examples of our unsportsmanlike penalties. Taunting, so someone walking up to their defender and saying, "You can't guard this." That's a perfect example of taunting. Excessive celebration. So this is high stepping. This is on Greek night. If you have the entire sideline charge the field, that is unacceptable because one, it's a delay of game, and two, it's excessive celebration. Spiking the ball, automatic, unsportsmanlike. Any dissent, if they attack you in any way, whether it's verbally, they threaten you, they do anything, if they threaten you, please just kick them out of the game. But if they say anything negative about you or the way you are officiating the game, that is an unsportsmanlike. Any profanity, vulgar language, or gestures, this is to your discretion. If somebody says the F word under their breath because they didn't catch the ball, that's when you want to use that quiet word. I wouldn't necessarily throw an unsportsmanlike. This is more if they yell the F word and you can hear it on the next field over. Or they say something about another person or you as an official or the other official and they use vulgar language. But if you ever see a gesture where someone gives someone the bird, that's an automatic unsportsmanlike. Fighting or an attempt to fight, not only is that unsportsmanlike, that should also be an ejection. Because if they're trying to start a fight, more than likely if you throw an unsportsmanlike, that's not going to change a whole lot. They already have a hot head. You might as well just get them out of the game. And any threats whatsoever, whether it's to you, a fellow official, another supervisor, or any other players or spectators on the field. Okay, we're going to go over our lovely signals. These are our program assistants from years ago that used to have Josh's and Ryan's job. So, we're going to, if I could have my lovely flag football people come up to the front for me. Because while you can tell in the picture what these signals are, a lot of them are moving signals. You guys will just line up facing our lovely crowd. Reese needs a cheat sheet apparently. Alright, so the first one we have is our delay of game penalty. That means they used too much of the game clock. Alright, peeps, what does our delay of game look like? Yes. So, you will see in the NFL, they'll come up like this with the delay of game penalty. That is not the correct signal. This is your delay of game penalty. Alright, encroachment. Looks a lot like a block penalty in basketball. Just hands on the hips. Flag guarding. You're going to pretend you're guarding your flag. It's very simple. Holding. Illegal contact. So if you all watch Reese again, it's not just you're going to come up here and stand with your arms crossed. You're going to actually come across your body and make it look like you're making contact with your arm. We have an illegal pass, which this one, no one ever knows the signal for because you're going to come up and say illegal pass, and they think you're just putting your hand behind your back. So make sure you guys explain that's an illegal pass. You're explaining what the penalty is, and you're also doing the signal because they're not going to know just by the signal. Illegal participation, on top of the head. So when I will never forget this because when I went through training, when Andy described it to me, he says, "This is the coach saying, crap, I have too many players on the field." And so he's freaking out and has hands on top of his head. Illegal shift. It's just one because this is two. But you don't want to cross your arms like an incomplete pass. It's a subtle difference. All right, illegal substitution. Yep. And you want to make sure it's a fist because when you're doing open and closed plays, you're going to have your hand open. And then for illegal substitution, you're going to close your fist. Okay? Intentional grounding, which you should not have, but it could happen. That's right. It's two hands across your body. We've got loss of down, so you want to announce a loss of down penalty. You're going to put your hands behind your head. We got our open play for co-rec, like I just said, open hand. Pass interference, you're just going to pretend like you're pushing someone. You're going to do your ready for play. Just hand in the air. And as soon as you blow that ready for play whistle, you're going to chop the clock. We got our roughing the passer. It looks a lot like intentional grounding, except it's one hand. Again, you should not have this in 4v4. Safety. This is my favorite one. Touchdown. Complicated. And it's not this. It's this. Make sure you guys get it right. Unsportsmanlike. Straight out. I think this is the last one. Those are all of our signals. Let's give a round of applause for our lovely models. We'll go over those in more detail in a station later, and we will give you a cheat sheet. That way, we don't expect you guys to remember that just off that presentation, but that just makes it a little bit more fun. All right. If in doubt, the play is a catch. So if you're thinking maybe he bobbled it, maybe his toe was on the line when he caught it, we don't have instant replay out there. We don't have that much money for intramurals just quite yet. So if in doubt, it is a catch. If in doubt, it's not a foul. So we want to let our teams play. We're not saying don't call fouls. But if you are questioning if it's a marginal call, if the team didn't really gain an advantage, and you're like, it could have been a foul, just if in doubt, it's not a foul. If in doubt, a snap close to the ground remains live. So it's a really bad snap, and I catch it way down here. And if in doubt, just let the play go. So if you think, it could have hit the ground, again, we don't have instant replay. Let the play happen. If it obviously bounces off the ground, kill that play. If in doubt, the flag belt has been pulled. One tip I have for you guys, don't watch the players grabbing for the flags. Watch the clip in the front of the belt. Because as soon as that clip breaks, the flags have been pulled. But sometimes the flags, if people have hips, which some people will have big hips out there, the flags will still be resting on their hips, but the flag belt has broken. If the flag belt's broken, it's still resting on their hips. Technically, the flag's been pulled. When in doubt, the ball has been released. We're talking about that 5 seconds. That's why we give them that extra half a second to get our whistle. And if it gets to right here and they release that ball, give it to them. Again, we are going to do every measure we can to let the teams play within reason. Okay? If in doubt, we're not going to talk about punts because we don't have punts. If in doubt, the offensive player, the passer, is behind the line of scrimmage when they threw the ball. If in doubt, the player is 2 yards back. Remember, the quarterback who receives the snap has to be 2 yards back. We're not asking you guys every play to say, okay, back up, you're 1.5, back up a half yard. If in doubt, they're 2 yards back. If in doubt, the pass is backwards. So if you have a sideways pass and you're like, if in doubt, it's backwards. Go ahead and give them to him. Remember, that's when you're marking it. You're going to yell back as loud as you can so they know they still have that one legal pass available to them. And then if in doubt, it is a touchback, not a safety. So if I intercept it, again, that momentum rule Brian talked about yesterday, if in doubt, I catch it and I'm retreating back into the end zone and I get deflagged. If in doubt, unless you're really, really sure that they could have controlled their feet to stay out of the end zone, we're going to go ahead and give it a touchback. We're not going to call safety unless we're absolutely sure. All right. So these are correct. So our upcoming training dates, tomorrow, 6:30 to 9. We're not over. We're just done with the classroom portion for tonight, so don't get too excited. But tomorrow, 6:30 to 9, we will be starting at the fields because we are going to go ahead and set up a flag football field to start. We will have 4 stations to go through. Then we will come back into the classroom. We have, I think, 9 plays to go through. We will talk about penalty enforcement. And then Monday, and then we'll have a quiz or a review, and then we'll do a test that you guys have to pass. It's not too hard. If you guys paid attention, you should be good. Then Monday, we will have our practice games at the gazebo fields. Remember, we will send out times. I think we have 8 games that night, 4 in each field, so more than likely you guys will be assigned to 2 to 3 games. But if you guys will go ahead, wait till I say go, but go and meet us at the gazebo. It is the big building. Does everyone know where the gazebo is? If not, follow Matthew Twigger. He will take you out there, and we will meet you out there with all of our equipment.
Twigger, raise your hands right now, so you are.
All right, everyone follow.
I'm being here, but you go play.
Sam, you know where it is, and you're staying. Everyone follow Sam then.